Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. This is Christmas in July, the postscript. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. This year for Christmas in July, I shared personal stories about myself as well as stories from my humble beginnings as a brand new medical coder. Now I have a couple of more stories to share, and this will be the closeout episode for Christmas in July, but these stories did not make the original cut. But I am going to be talking about work family, which I thought would be a great bonus episode. So without further ado, here we go. Now I have a work son. Now if you're brand new to my channel or if you've never heard of my work son, I talk about him a lot on my Patreon channel, but my work son is a young man that used to work at our facility. He doesn't work at our facility anymore. He works at another place. But he spent a lot of time with me and in the department. And in the beginning, when I first met him, he was very stoic and he was very serious all the time. And he said, "Hello, Miss Blue," you know, and he was just very polite, very nice. And one day I had brought in my famous taco soup. Now, this is not my recipe, but I did tweak it a little bit. And it is amazing, and I will have to make sure that I leave it in the description box of this video. But anyway, this taco soup. So taco soup is really simple, something you could throw in a crock pot, some chips, and a little bit of cheese, and you got a party, right? So I like to make things like this that are simple and easy and fast. They come together, it comes together really quickly because it's just all, you know, putting it all together in the crock pot. And it's not very hard at all. And of course, people enjoy it. So that is something that like a lot of my coworkers look forward to because they say, "Oh, when are you gonna cook again?" And I will cook from time to time. Well, this was the first time that my work son had experienced this. And so as he's passing by, he can smell this really amazing taco soup. And he's like, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, it's taco soup." And then he's like, "I've never had that before." Now, this guy's from Kentucky, okay? So he's never had taco soup before. He's like, "I've never had that." He goes, "But it smells really good." And I said, "Okay, well, you know, be ready at lunchtime and just come on by, you know?" So, of course, the first time he has it, he is so amazed at this, right? He's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good." So after that, he tells me, "Miss Blue, if you ever need to adopt anybody, you can adopt me." Now, this was a very touching moment. At the same time, the other hand, I'm like, really? Like, no, I'm not, I'm not old enough to be your mother, right? And so he says, "Well, if you had me young, you could totally be my mom." I said, "Boy." So I did take this as a compliment because I think that this was very sweet. No one's ever said this to me before. So, but he made it very clear that no one else in the department, because there was other ones that tried to call me mom or tried to say that they were, you know, they were my son, right? He's like, "No, I'm the only one." So that was the rule. Nobody else but my son. So he is the only one with that title. And I don't have kids, so I'm okay with him having that title. And and it still holds till this day, you know, no one else gets to say that but him, you know. So anyway, but he totally tore up this taco soup. He was so excited about this taco soup. So he was like, "Oh my gosh," he said, "I've never had this kind of food before, you know." And so I said, "Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it." So it was about a couple months later, he was like, "Hey, Miss Blue, when are you going to cook again?" And I was like, "Oh, you know, I guess I can bring something in." And I said, "Well, what would you like? Something different?" And he's like, No, I want the taco soup again." So I was like, "Oh, okay, you know, I could do that." And it was getting about to be the winter months, right? And so taco soup sounded great to everybody. So he kept coming and opening up the crock pot because, again, I put everything in the crock pot, and I mean, when you put something in the crock pot, you have to let it stay in the crock pot so that way it can cook. Well, he kept lifting up the lid, and I said, "Okay, you got to leave the lid on so that way it can all get together." And so it could be, he goes, "It just smells really good. I can just smell it. I can smell it." And one of the other nurses told him, "Boy, leave the lid alone." He goes, "You keep grabbing the lid." He goes, "Quit grabbing the lid." And so he goes, get over here. Let me go help you do something, you know. And so he said, yes, distract him, you know. And so he's like, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? So when he came back later on, of course, we all got together, and it was him and a couple of the other staff that came over, and we were just all sitting there. And I wish that was like a time that I wish I could just freeze, you know, because we were just all there laughing and joking with each other and just enjoying each other's company. And it was more than just like coworkers, it was just people, right? And sometimes, like, when you get into those instances where you're working and it's just like work, 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 and then you see these people and you're like, oh, I don't want to see these people. But this was never like that. This was just like, oh, this is where I work and these are the people that I work around. And doing these things, I was able to get to know them better. And I realized how funny they are and how thoughtful they are and how inquisitive and everything about them that they are. And so it just became something that was just so enjoyable. Like I said, if I could just freeze time, that would be one of those moments that I would totally have frozen. And just being there with my work son and then a couple of the other people from the department. And one of them, he's like seen like an uncle figure in the department, you know, because he takes care of everybody. You know, he gives the younger people solid advice, and you know, he gives them good counsel, and just being around each other is just like, and everybody feeds off each other with that good energy. And then you see people, they walk around and they're so happy and they had a good day. And considering that times do get stressful at work, as far as like patient care load, and you know, patients yell at them and it gets busy, and then you have the surgeons coming over and they're in on the fun too, and they're there, and everybody's just together. And it's not about, oh, I'm the surgeon and you know, I'm support staff and you know, this and this. It's literally everybody just coming together and having a good meal and just enjoying the moment. And so that's like one of those special times. And as I think about my work son, and I miss my work son, I miss seeing him every day and hearing him and his voice and how he walks, and you know, because he's very muscular, so he has a very strong walk. You know, when he walks, you can hear him. You can hear him coming, and you can also hear me in the hallway too, because I will be down the hallway and he says, I can hear you, Miss Blue, because of my high heels, and everybody knows the high heels. So even when I walk down in the ortho hallway, some of the surgeons will be in their office, they'll say, hi, Blue, because they can hear my heels, and there's nobody else that walks in heels down that hallway but me. You know, so, because when you think about like the nurses, they have all their sneakers on, but I have my high heels, you know, and so it's just something like, you look at the people that you work around and you think of like, in a family sense, what role would they be? Well, since my work son has made it to where he is the only one, I do get the alternative of aunt figure. And I'm like, really? The aunt, really? They go, yeah, but you're like the cool aunt, Miss Blue. And I'm like, oh, okay. As long as I'm the cool aunt, you know? Be like that one movie where this is, okay, like, I'm not like all the other moms, okay? Like, I'm the cool mom, okay? I wasn't Mean Girls, you know, that movie. But anyway, so just, I don't know. Like I said, when I do these things, and I haven't done it in a while, but I am going to do it, actually. The day that this airs, I will be doing a farewell. So I am bringing in pulled pork for the lady that's leaving. But just getting back to that, you know, it's a cultural thing, because I always believe that food brings people together. And I try to be real smart when I bring like something. I want it to be something that's economical and yet is appealing and pleasing for a lot of people at the same time. So it takes creativity and coupons. But when you harness that and you have an idea in your head and you try to get as creative as you possibly can, there's no limit to what you can do. And like I said, these these bonds and these memories, you know, you'll have them forever. You know, you're going to be around these people anyway, you know, and I don't know, I just enjoy it. And I think it makes everything, like the workplace, more fun, and, you know, at least I think so anyway. But yes, so that was one of the stories that I wanted to share. And just when I think back on all these times, I think back to my 10-year anniversary. I brought crockpot lasagna, right? So I made crockpot lasagna for myself, right? Because if I wasn't gonna rely on anybody else to do anything for me, right? Because if you want something done, you gotta do it yourself, right? So I made crockpot lasagna, and I had salad, and of course I had I think I had brownies. I think I bought brownies for that one, because I don't think I was making the peach cobbler yet in the crock pot. So I had made this crock pot lasagna, and I'd never made it before. So that was my first time making it, and I was kind of nervous, right? So I made it, and oh my gosh. Like, as soon as I put the crock pot lid on, it took 4 hours to do. 4 hours to make this crock pot lasagna. It was so amazing. As soon as I opened it up just to check it out, right? You could smell it all the way through the department. And one of the surgeons came over, and I swear his pupils were so huge. He's like, oh my goodness. He goes, I could smell that all the way down the hallway. He goes, it smells amazing. He goes, it smells like it's so good. He's like, I'll be right back. So he went and got cleaned up, because I think he had just come back from the OR. He's like, I'm ready. And I was okay, because I had told all of them, I'm like, you know, I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary, so I want you guys to come over. And they go, oh yeah. Well, they weren't expecting that, you know. So when they got there, they were like, oh my gosh. And like I said, that one surgeon that came over, his pupils were so huge. I was like, wow. He's like, it smells really good. And so he's like, I don't know what you did with this. He goes, but I need the recipe. So I gave it to him, but you know, he really enjoyed it. He's like, I can't believe you made this from the crock pot. I go, yeah. He goes, normally, like, you would think it would be like all over the place. I said, no. I said, actually, the way I did it, and I think there was the noodles that I used, because I used the Barilla noodles. So, but I mean, it came out amazing. So I was like, oh. But I only make that on really special occasions. Like, it's got to be really, really special, because it's labor intensive, not labor intensive, but it does take a little bit of finesse to make sure that it gets in there. And of course, it's very rich, like calorie wise. So, you know, I always have to think about my boys, because they're always, they watch their weight too, you know. So, but I just think it's cute. But that one was one of the really nice ones. They were like, I cannot believe you made this from the crock pot. And one of the other PAs, she was just like, I normally don't partake in lasagna. She goes, I'm very particular, because my mom makes amazing lasagna. She goes, but this is incredible. She's like, I can't believe that came out of the crock pot. And I go, yeah. I was like, well, I said, I'm glad you enjoyed it, you know, but everybody loved it. So anyway, but yeah, that was my stories. And so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. But I have had so much fun talking about these memories, and I really got to do this again sometime, because, you know, thinking about these memories, it makes me remember all these other things, and they're like, oh, I remember that now. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see y'all on the next episode. Bye.